Yo, what's going on? Welcome into the show. Hope everybody out there is having a phenomenal weekend. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and even though no one likes us, you know the deal. No one really cares. Go Birds, E-A-G-L-E-S. And let's answer your questions here on the program because you have a lot of questions, and I have a lot of answers. First, do you want thought-provoking and informative Eagles coverage, which comes your way? Short form, long form, live, non-live, watch parties, regular live shows, news, rumors, and analysis. If the answer to that question is yes, you came to the right spot because that's what we do. Hit that sub button. It's Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr. Let's get it. Dennis Designs with a $50 super chat. And he wants to talk about the running back position here. Saw some old games of Kenneth Gainwell. He looked good, running like his ass was on fire. I think he will be a good backup. Not sure why everyone is pushing him out. I think the conversation around Kenneth Gainwell is what it is right now for two reasons. He's coming off a down year in 2023 in which ball security and production were issues. And then also he's in the final year of his rookie contract. And when you sign and make a splash, like the Eagles did with Saquon Barkley, everybody kind of forgets about everybody else. And Saquon Barkley, $26 million of guaranteed money is coming his way. So it's pretty much a 2-year deal, $13 million per. I'm utilizing him as much as possible. I also want him fresh for late in the year. But as far as his usage goes, you use him as a runner. I want to see the return of more screen passes, wheel routes. I want to see Saquon line up as a slot receiver. Durability has been a little bit of a concern, though. So the Eagles aren't going to be able to really run him into the ground, but I want to see him utilized a lot. Kenneth Gainwell has proven to be a very solid backup running back. I thought in 2022 he was really good behind Miles Sanders. And in those old games that Dennis is talking about, yeah, he ran hard. He had some getaway up. He had some getaway speed. That NFC Championship game, him and Miles Sanders were running through and all over the San Francisco 49ers. So I think last year, a bad year, but it was an embodiment and a summary of kind of what the Eagles season was last year. They'd do some good things, then they'd shoot themselves in the foot. That's kind of how Kenneth Gainwell's 2023 went. I think he's going to be motivated going into this year. I've seen some videos of him working out. Looks like he added some solid muscle too. Paul, $10 super chat. Glad we signed a free agent wide receiver, but I think the smartest decision for the Eagles is signing Hunter Renfrow instead of John Ross. So John Ross is on the team. He made a couple of plays at OTAs this past week. That's cool. He said that he thinks he's faster than he was before, not quite the 4.22 40-yard dash guy that he was at the NFL Combine, which set a record, and a record that stood until Xavier Worthy this past March in Indianapolis coming out of Washington. But Ross thinks that his speed is more consistent. He could say that all he wants. This part of the offseason is the classic best shape of life season. He needs to be able to stay healthy. And in his career, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Paris Campbell has not been able to stay healthy. I know that Hunter Renfrow has had a couple of down years the last couple of years. Back in 2021, he had more than 1,000 receiving yards, and I think that he still has that in his game. Had the injury slowed him down a little bit? Yeah, maybe. But he's a slot wide receiver. He has the ability to beat zone sitting in that soft spot. Press man with the good footwork and the good get-off. And I just think that Hunter Renfrow, alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, is a good complement. So I would explore that for sure. Because if A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith get hurt, now you're relying on the off-injured Paris Campbell, John Ross, or the rookies and Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson, or a player like Joseph Nagata, who you're really not sure about. Wide receiver depth, a problem. It can be solved with Hunter Renfrow. Andrew Nathan, if Miles Sanders gets cut, and hopefully, did I say Anaya Smith in that last question? Of course, he's going to have a chance to. If Miles Sanders gets cut, do you believe that Howie would be interested in bringing him back on a 1-year deal, or do you think that Kenneth Gainwell and Will Shipley will provide a solid RB2 production? Interesting question, and we talked about it on the show this weekend. Miles Sanders is in danger maybe of getting cut by the Carolina Panthers. That's been some of the buzz coming out of Carolina. They traded up for Jonathan Brooks in the second round. They're running back out of Texas. They made him the first RB taken in the 2024 draft class. Miles Sanders last year was so bad, but I think that was more because of the team. Frank Reich, a vanilla offensive mind at this point. Seems as though the league has passed him by, especially as a play caller. Quarterback's coach, I think he can still have something to give. But then he gets let go, and the offense still didn't do anything. Bad offensive line play, bad skill position players. They traded away DJ Moore. Bryce Young really struggled, and because of that, Miles Sanders really struggled. If you were to get cut, I'd explore it. Then Will Shipley becomes your RB4, Gainwell your RB3, Miles Sanders your RB2, and he gets to reunite with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think it's highly unlikely, though. Paul, $10 super chat. I also think, as he continues to ask about wide receivers and talk about wide receivers, that Johnny Wilson would be better as a prototype tight end, even though the Eagles have stated he's only a wide receiver. Also, how about that bad weather in Houston 2 days ago? All of Texas has gotten crushed this week as far as weather goes. So I hope everybody in that part of the country has been able to stay safe, especially Houston and Dallas. As for Johnny Wilson, would he be better as a tight end? A lot of people going into the draft weren't sure what he was going to be because he's 6'6", 6'7", but he doesn't have the physicality that you need as a tight end. He doesn't block like a tight end. And if he adds some weight, does that make him slower, which could be an issue? He plays smaller than that size, route running a problem, hands an issue because he dropped a lot of passes. The Eagles have said, we are taking him as a wide receiver. He is not a tight end. He might be the tallest wide receiver in the NFL, and he is, but we want to see him at wide receiver. If he could tap in to that size and he could become a beast, high pointing those 50-50 balls, coming down with it, climbing the ladder, being a dog, that'll be awesome for Philadelphia because I'm willing to take chances on players with that size, with those attributes in the 6th round of the draft. Millie 315, what's the most interesting tidbits coming out of live OTAs? Any good storylines developing? James Bradbury still has not shown up. I get that it's voluntary, but if I'm him, I'd want to show up because I know that I might be in danger of making the roster or just playing. Nakobe Dean returned and played a little with the 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. He was the starting off-ball linebacker alongside Devin White. I think that Cooper DeJean being with the second-string defense at nickel corner is interesting because he's a really intriguing starting slot nickel once he's able to grasp this defense because he's an excellent athlete and a great playmaker. Quinny Mitchell's been making some good plays. So those are some of the big storylines coming out. Kenny Pickett has looked pretty good despite getting picked off on Thursday. He's made a couple of good throws. He looks to be a really sizable upgrade over Marcus Mariota, who just stinks. Andrew Nathan, last year, we carried 7 corners on the active roster. Given our current depth, who are your 7 corners that you predict make the 53, and which depth corner do you think gets traded before September? Good question here. So the shoo-ins to make the team: Darius Slay, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. After that, Isaiah Rodgers, Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, but then who plays nickel? Because then you're looking at Bradbury, you're looking at Avonte Maddox, Tyler Scott, all not making this team. So that's a lot of good corners right there. So let me count again. Darius Slay, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, shoo-ins to make the roster, right? Then you have Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, and then those last 2, you got to have some slots. So like Avonte Maddox might make the team. Tyler Scott probably out. James Bradberry may be out. Can you work a trade for James Bradberry and get any type of value back for a team that's starving for cornerback help? Maybe, but I'm not sure how much value he has. I think Kelee Ringo or Eli Ricks might have more value, but I like having young developmental corners on this team. It's tough. Erica Jones, what's good, gentlemen? Chilling. Happy to hear from you. Hyped to get through next season with you for sure. Thank you so much. Who are you looking forward to seeing out on the field this year the most? Saquon Barkley, Devin White, Bryce Huff, and I want to see sizable leaps from Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And then I had been calling for C.J. Gardner-Johnson to come back. I'm excited to see him back. I also want to see what these rookies can do, if any, what they can do, if anything, as rookies. Can they contribute right from the jump? Quinny Mitchell-Cooper-DeJean. In the preseason, I want to see how good Jalix Hunt looks. Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson. I mean, this is why I love football. There are so many great storylines to talk about, to follow, to monitor. Can't wait. And I can't wait to get through the season with you and everybody else. The Razor. Do you think that the safety position is good enough, or do we need to bring someone in? C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship. That's your starting safety tandem right now. Your backups, Sidney Brown, Mekhi Garner. It's a unit that you can get by with. Is it a unit that I'm content with? No. My dream option would be Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons update, still out there, hasn't signed with the team. 4-time All-Pro. Going into his age 31 season. Leads the NFL in picks since 2016. Still playing at an elite level. Played under Vic Fangio. Instincts. Ball hawk. Team captain. Leadership. This is not a player who had obvious signs of decline like a Kevin Byard. This is a player who's still playing at a really high level. Whereas Byard, you saw him slipping a little bit. Eddie Jackson is also still out there. He too played under Vic Fangio. He was an All-Pro back in 2018 under Fangio with the Chicago Bears. Now that's a player we have seen decline. And that's a player who's had some injury issues the last couple of years. Justin Simmons has been very durable throughout his career for the most part. And what Justin Simmons and C.J. Gardner-Johnson gives you, a really good safety tandem. Then what Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship give you, excellent depth at that position. So it just makes your football team better as far as your starters and your reserves. Be sure to subscribe to us here on Philadelphia Eagles Now so that you can be a part of our mailbags. Always love opening up the floor and chopping it up with all of the real ones.